because Jesus has all authority in heaven and on earth.
Dispensational, premillennial position Christians say today is they will line up Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21 to the book of Revelation as the Great Tribulation. And I would too, right? I would definitely tie those three passages, which is the same passage, basically, and I would tie that into the book of Revelation, because that's exactly what it's talking about, right? Jesus is prophesying about the second temple being destroyed. That's the first thing that he talks about. Okay? Why? That's a very important thing in this discussion. Very important thing in this discussion, because when, again, you have to look at it in the lens of, okay, what was going on in that time? He literally points out the temple, the second temple that's standing there right in front of him. He says, do you not see these buildings? Not one will be left upon another. Okay, pretty clear, right? Pretty cut and dry there, right? But the reason that that's important is because the ones that Jesus is talking to, the ones that John is writing to, okay, this has to be done before the second temple is destroyed, right? So again, if Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21 is connected to Revelation, and it's the same thing, okay, then that means that it has to be before the second temple is destroyed, because that's exactly what Jesus speaks about. All right, he's literally talking about that temple that is literally right in front of him. Okay, he even tells the disciples to look at the building. This is not spiritual. All right, this is not a spiritual third temple. Okay, this is something that they will see, that they are seeing currently in their eyes. Okay, so if that's true, all right, then the book of Revelation has to be talking about, when it talks about, like in Revelation 11, which again, we'll get into that in a different video, but in Revelation chapter 11, when, John is given a measuring rod to measure the temple, okay, why does he do so? Okay, if it is future to us, and there is no temple right now, and they won't be, apparently, when all this stuff happens in the future to a lot of Christians now, that doesn't line up. Because how are you supposed to measure a temple that's not there? He's supposed to measure the temple that is there already. Okay? So, again, when we look into these passages, we have to understand, we have to read them in the lens of the first century Christians. Right? So if I'm a first century Christian, okay, and let's just say, right? Let's just say, because I've already told you my argument, and there's a lot more to that argument of why I would date the book of Revelation before the destruction of the temple, which was in 70 AD, okay? The reason that I would date that right there is because, again, Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21, it's clearly talking about the second temple being destroyed, okay? And so, if that's the case, right, then that has to be dated. That prophecy has to be, or has to happen before the second century, or the second temple being destroyed. Okay?